Florida, the state often associated with its vibrant diversity and critical political influence, is about to become the battleground for one of the most aggressive immigration policies seen in modern American history. In January 2025, under the administration of President Donald Trump, mass deportations are expected to begin in Miami-Dade County, which holds one of the largest immigrant populations in the United States. This move, part of Trump's broader Project 2025, aims to drastically reshape the nation's immigration landscape, dismantling families, communities, and businesses reliant on undocumented workers. Miami, historically known for its strong immigrant communities, especially from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and other Latin American nations, finds itself at the heart of a national crisis. Immigrants, both documented and undocumented, fear that this policy will tear apart their lives, livelihoods, and families. Schools, hospitals, and workplaces, traditionally considered safe spaces under previous administrations, are no longer safe from raids and arrests. Immigration authorities are poised to break down doors in schools, hospitals, and homes to enforce these new policies. The deportation efforts are set to impact not only the undocumented, but also those with temporary protected status, TPS, DACA recipients, and others under humanitarian parole, as Trump's administration makes a sweeping attempt to revoke protections for millions. While the political landscape in Miami-Dade recently shifted toward a more conservative, pro-Trump sentiment, many residents who supported Trump during the 2024 election may soon realize they, too, are caught in the crosshairs of these harsh immigration policies. In this video, we explore the reality of what's happening in Florida, especially in Miami-Dade County, and what it means for immigrant communities. From the fear and uncertainty faced by families to the devastating impact on the economy, the unfolding crisis under President Trump's immigration plan is more than just a political issue, it's a human one. This is Florida's silent emergency. Trump's mass deportation plan and overview. President Trump's immigration policies, particularly the aggressive deportation measures outlined under Project 2025, are set to reshape the landscape of American immigration enforcement. Unlike previous administrations, which followed guidelines that protected certain sensitive locations like schools, hospitals, and places of worship, Trump's policies, under the guidance of his former border czar, Tom Homan, dismantle these protections. According to Project 2025, immigration officers will no longer be restricted from conducting raids in sensitive locations. For years, immigration officials were discouraged from arresting or detaining individuals near schools or healthcare facilities to ensure that immigrant communities could access essential services without the fear of deportation. However, as part of Project 2025, the Trump administration intends to revoke these exemptions, making it possible for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, officers to target immigrant families within schools, hospitals, and even in places of worship. Miami-Dade County, which boasts one of the largest populations of undocumented immigrants in the country, is expected to be ground zero for these mass deportation operations. According to immigration experts, the county holds over 1 million deportation cases currently open, making it a prime target for the Trump administration's agenda. With nearly 70% of the county's population being Hispanic, this policy change could have a profound impact, especially on the immigrant communities from Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Haiti. While Trump's victory in Miami-Dade during the 2024 election was significant, he won by 11 percentage points. Many who supported him may soon regret their decision. Trump's immigration policies are not solely aimed at the other immigrants, but rather at all undocumented individuals, including those who have temporary protected status, TPS, DACA recipients, and those on humanitarian parole. The immigrant communities at risk. The immigrant communities at risk in Florida are diverse, with people from all walks of life. Some seeking refuge from violence in their home countries, others simply hoping to provide a better future for their families. But under Trump's new immigration policies, all of these individuals, regardless of their current status, are in jeopardy. 1. Temporary Protected Status, TPS, recipients. Temporary Protected Status is a humanitarian program that provides temporary relief from deportation for individuals from countries facing crises like war or natural disasters. However, with Trump's policies threatening to end TPS for nationals from countries like Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, hundreds of thousands of people may find themselves suddenly undocumented and at risk of deportation. These individuals have lived in the U.S. for years, working, paying taxes, and contributing to society, but now they could face separation from their families and communities. 2. DACA recipients. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, allowed undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children to stay and work without fear of deportation. Under Trump's plan, even these young people, many of whom have known no home other than the U.S., could be targeted for deportation, leaving them vulnerable to arrest, detention, and expulsion. 3. Humanitarian parole recipients. Since the Biden administration introduced humanitarian parole, individuals from countries like Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Haiti have been allowed to stay in the U.S. temporarily, pending the resolution of their immigration cases. Under Project 2025, Trump's administration is poised to end this program, leaving these individuals with no legal status and at risk of immediate deportation. Economic impact of mass deportations on Florida. One of the most pressing issues surrounding Trump's mass deportation plan is the devastating impact it will have on Florida's economy. Immigrants, both documented and undocumented, make up a significant portion of the state's workforce, particularly in industries such as agriculture, construction, and tourism. Florida's economy relies heavily on immigrant labor, and the state's business community has already expressed concerns about the potential fallout from mass deportations. Take the example of Florida's agricultural industry, which has long depended on immigrant labor to harvest crops. The prospect of losing a large portion of this workforce would cripple the industry, leading to labor shortages, lower production levels, and increased costs for consumers. Similarly, the construction and hospitality sectors, both of which rely on immigrant workers, would suffer from reduced labor availability, leading to delays in construction projects and a decrease in service quality. Moreover, the widespread deportation of workers could lead to an exodus of skilled laborers, forcing businesses to either close down or operate at a reduced capacity. The fallout would not only affect businesses, but could also lead to a rise in unemployment for other Floridians, as labor shortages in key industries push up wages and make it harder for employers to fill vacant positions. The personal cost, family separation, and fear. The most significant impact of Trump's deportation plan is the human cost. Families will be torn apart as individuals who have lived in the U.S. for years, raised children, built careers, and integrated into American society face the very real possibility of being deported to countries they barely recognize. The fear that comes with this uncertainty is profound. Parents will be ripped away from their children, leaving American-born citizens in limbo. Children who grew up in the U.S., many of whom speak only English and consider themselves Americans, will be forced to face the harsh reality of being sent to a country they know nothing about. The emotional trauma of such separations is unimaginable, and it is not just the undocumented individuals who will suffer. Their children, American citizens, will also bear the burden of losing their parents. Florida is on the brink of a silent emergency. The Trump administration's mass deportation plan, set to begin in January 2025, promises to rip apart immigrant communities in Miami-Dade and beyond. Schools, hospitals, workplaces, and even places of worship, traditionally safe from immigration raids, will now become battlegrounds in the fight over America's immigration policy. For many, the devastating impacts of these policies will extend far beyond the loss of family members. The state's economy, built on the labor of immigrants, will also face a major crisis as industries that rely on immigrant workers struggle to maintain their workforce. Meanwhile, individuals who have been granted TPS, DACA, and humanitarian parole will be left in legal limbo, vulnerable to deportation and the harsh realities that await them in their home countries. Despite the overwhelming support Trump received in Miami-Dade in the 2024 election, many residents may soon realize that they, too, are at risk under these policies. The question remains, will the communities affected by these policies rise to resist, or will they remain silent as their neighbors, families, and friends are torn apart? As we watch these policies unfold, it's crucial to remember the human faces behind the headlines. These are not just political figures or abstract concepts. They are real people with real lives, hopes, and dreams. The future of Florida's immigrant communities hangs in the balance, and only time will tell how this crisis will be resolved. This is Florida's silent emergency, and it is one that demands our attention.